Hi there. Welcome to Revolutionary Perspectives. My name is Dr. Erica, and here we encourage radical change to inspire far reaching impact. One of the things that I hope there is space for on this channel is to think about the ways that we might make radical change in a number of different areas of our lives that result in far reaching impact. And so for me, one of those areas has been in the way that I spend and think about money. That has been something that's been more recent and something that I figured that other folks might be able to appreciate. So today we're going to do our budget and March budget. And one of the things as a mental health professional that I find in the field is that folks aren't always forthcoming or transparent about the money that they make. And I don't know if it's because in some situations it's too little, or if folks have really found the key and they are making so much that it makes them uncomfortable. But I want to help young up and coming professionals learn how to budget real money. So we're going to use real numbers. So I use the Budget by Paycheck Budget Mom system. I purchased this system this past year. I did purchase the PDF file, and it is undated, which is going to be super cost effective as I look to lower my spending. And so it's something that I can reuse time and time again. It doesn't have 100% of what I'm looking for in a budget, but we're going to rock with it for now until I develop something that really works for me. So we're going to start with the monthly layout. Now there are a ton of pages that come each month that I don't use and some that I use for different purposes, but we're going to focus on the two sets in the current layout that I do use. And so the first is the monthly layout. And so I have gone ahead and put in the numbers that I currently know and expect in the monthly layout. And let's see. Make sure this is in shot here. And so one thing that I like to do in my monthly spread is I like to be able to see the money that is coming out up at the top and the money that is coming in or related to the money that is coming in down at the bottom, or things that I'm using for investment. And so we'll talk about my current 3 sources of income and why they are listed here. But this is the layout that I currently use as far as the monthly layout. Now here, there is an opportunity for you to talk a little bit about the goals that you have this month. And usually I do not I do not currently pay myself for my private practice, but there are a couple of things that I may have to supplement from my primary income to be able to fund my private practice because I'm part-time private practice. And a couple of those things are listed here. So needing to purchase and go ahead and purchase Simple Practice, which I've actually already done. So I'm going to cross that out. Gathering my tax information. I did hire a CPA this year since I do have my private practice and other income and I'm considered a sole proprietor. So I'm still doing that for her, which I'm running out of time, but I'll get that done as quickly as possible. And then because I have this new form of payment coming in, I need to determine how I'm going to use it in terms of dividing it between debt, payoff, and savings or investments. And then I am also in the process of kind of developing something for myself and maybe other clinicians that might find it helpful in the form of a planner. And so there may be some costs associated with that I want to prepare for and plan for. And so I'm doing that. So that is the monthly layout as it currently stands. All right. So next, it's going to be really important for me to kind of go through and take inventory of all the money that I have coming in, all the money that's going to be spent during the month, all the money that's going to be saved. And so I've kind of pre-filled everything here to kind of cut down on time. And I'm actually going to go ahead and sort through these other pages. I get paid once a month, so I don't need the individual paycheck trackers, but I do use at least one of the paycheck trackers for payments or money that I have going to a separate account. which I'll talk a little bit about, but I won't do that breakout here unless you all might be interested. So I get paid for my second job into two different accounts, my main account and second account. And I use that second account money to fund additional things related to my business until I move into full-time practice. If I ever do, there are some things that I might need to supplement, like my website, taxes, purchases, things that I may purchase to use with my clients. And so I use that income there, but I'm not going to go through that today. So today we're just going to focus on what is going to my main account, which is my Bank of America account. And so I have right now my current sources of income. So I get paid once a month from my primary job. I get paid twice a month from my second job. And I'm not sure, I guess I get paid as much as I'm going to submit invoices from the EAP that I am now a part of. And so the first thing I want to do is note my income for the month. So I'm going to budget, and let me know if you want me to come back and do like the actuals at the end of the month to close it out. But right now I'm going to budget what I know, or what I'm expecting rather. All right. So my school income for my primary job, I'm a school psychologist by day, usually fluctuates anywhere between $4,000 and $4,400 for the month. So I'm going to be on the conservative side there. In this account for my second job, I usually get anywhere between $300 and maybe $350 a pay. So I'm going to, again, be conservative there. And from this EAP, it'll really depend on the client. And initially I had budgeted maybe about $300 a month coming from there, but it's looking like I may be at about $300 a week. But I'm not really sure. And I hate to be not as conservative. So actually what I'm going to do is pulling out my handy dandy calculator. I'm going to say, let's say I at least have one client a week. And I'm going to multiply that times the 5 weeks that we have this month. And so I'll look at bringing in about $750 in income for the month. All right, so let's add that up. All right, so my total income I'm looking at being $53.50 for the month. Okay. All right. And so next I want to go in and put in my expected expenses for the month. Again, budgeted based on my experiences. So I am a Christian. I do pay tithes. I have a church that I belong to in the local area. And so 10% of my school pay would be going to those tithes. I then will tithe on my my second job pay, each pay. My rent, I budget $11.20, and you may have seen on my monthly layout, I already do know my rent payment, considering that we're well into March. So I am a little over for the first time in a long time, probably with all the cold we've had. I budget $100 for my electric. I budget $60 for my cable. This is actually a little higher, and I actually had to call them to reduce that, but so that'll be the last month that it will be that, and then it was higher this past month. I have 2 student loan accounts, one with Great Lakes and the other with AES. Great Lakes right now is frozen, so I'm actually throwing all of my Great Lakes money to my other debt, my car and my Bank of America credit card, which is my last consumer credit card. And so that's why you'll see the BOA here in parentheses, so I can remember this is for my student loan when they start back, but right now it's going to Bank of America. I have a phone plan that I share with my mom, and I pay $105 for that. And then my other student loans is $267. I then recently changed car insurance, but I am right now paying down the premium that I paid up front on one of my credit cards that is carrying a 0% APR. And so I'm paying that down, and then that money will then move into a sinking fund to be held for when the next 6 months is due. Then I'm paying off my Bank of America credit card, which again is one of the last consumer credit cards that I have. And the first pay is $484, and that is a snowball pay. So as I've paid off other debts, that has snowballed into this large pay here. And then I have another snowball debt that I don't know why I keep it separate, but I do, and that's been helpful. So additional $100 goes at a separate time in the month to Bank of America. And then I plan for my second pay tithes. And then recently I had a car. I had to purchase a car. I had a '09 Nissan Versa that lasted for as long as possible. And in November, I had to get another car. And so that is my current car payment. And then I do have a gym membership through my insurance. It actually is to this company. And then I can pretty much join any gym that I want that buys into their program. So I have like, I don't know, something crazy like 6 gym memberships. All right. And then I am taking a class. So I have to have continuing education credits as a psychologist, as a school psychologist. And one of the ways that I can get that is by taking a class at a local university. And so I do have a partnership with this university. So I don't pay tuition, but I do have to pay the class registration fee. I wasn't expecting that this month, but it did come due this month. So I didn't budget for it, but it will be in my actual reflection at the end of the month when I come back and zero that out. Because I had just started the EAP and I wasn't actually expecting them to start paying me so fast, I didn't budget anything for EAP taxes or tithes, but it will also be reflected in my actuals. And let us add this up and see what the expenses look like. Okay. So in total, I'm expecting $3,542. And so I'm going to put that here. All right. And so the way that this worksheet works is if I take my expected income total and subtract my bill total, then they are curious about or have a space for what then is left over there for me. And so we're going to do that. All right. So I could expect that I have about $1,808 left over. Okay. So now I'm going to bring that down. My leftover now comes down to what I'm budgeting as far as my envelopes for the month. All right, so for gas, I don't live very far from my job or from a lot of the places that I go, so I have $100 budgeted there and actually have $30 left over from last month. For groceries as a single person, I budget $300 a month and I have $41 left over from last month. For fun, I give myself $25, and for personal items, I also give myself $25 for the month. I don't have anything left over from last month because I used those. And so in total, in my envelopes, I'll have $450. I used to do cash envelopes, and now that I've gotten a better hold on my credit card spending, I use my credit cards and do kind of credit card hacking to be able to earn rewards, earn cash back, and I pay it off as soon as I make item purchases. So I don't do physical cash envelopes, but I do have a cash envelope system, which I can definitely show you if you're interested. All right. And so here, if I subtract that from what we had, I now have $1,358 that I'm working with, which is much higher than I was expecting. So definitely going to have to figure out fast, like what I'm going to do with all that extra money. Oh, I've got some Post-it notes that are creeping in here. Okay. So now I move over to my sinking funds. And so sinking funds are a good way to save if there are things that you're interested in saving for. And I've got all of my sinking funds listed here. Some may say that's a lot. I might say it's not. So we'll talk through what my sinking funds look like. Okay, so for Christmas, I know that I need to save about $50 a month to hit $500 by the time that October, November comes, when I need to start shopping for gifts. Throughout the year, on gifts and things that I may spend, it's about $200. I probably do spend more and probably need to look at that. And then I fly home. I'm originally from Louisiana, so I fly home every year. And I know it's going to cost me about $400 if I get the ticket on time. So I'm budgeting $30 a month for that. I'm interested in buying a house. This is kind of like, meh, we'll see how that goes. I'm going to see about getting a house through an educator program. So, but I put away about $105 a month towards that. This Michael, I'll explain probably in another video, but I put away $105 towards that. I do need to update my computer. My computer is probably as old as my car was, and so I'm budgeting $105 a month for that. I'm interested in getting a camera as I get more interested in blogging or YouTube, and so I'm budgeting $105 for that. I do have licensing fees that I have to keep up with as a psychologist, and they will be coming due in November, so I've budgeted for that. I'm interested. I have a couple of different ventures right now that I am interested in or exploring that need to be trademarked. So I budget $105 for that. And then my taxes are rolling. So like as I get money that comes in, I need to add it to my taxes. And so here there's an actual column, but for me, I really am wanting to keep track of like my balance. And so in preparation for closing out my budget, that's what I'm going to switch this to, so that I know balance. So that I know what I am, or like where I'm at with those goals. Clearly, it's like early. Okay. And then any extra money that I'm going to put towards debt, I'll put down here. Oh, let's total those up. Okay. So my total sinking funds is $640. And if I subtract that from what I have, it will leave me with $718. Okay, so I have $718 that I can bring down. So for my city, this is one that I already knew, but I had money that came in through Cash App. So someone asked me to cook some gumbo for them, and the supplies cost about $25. They sent me the money, and so that isn't going to come out of this number. But we'll see. I don't have anything budgeted because I actually wasn't expecting to have that much money this month. But so I didn't budget for anything coming from Bank of America or going to Bank of America or Nissan. And so I'm just gonna, for now, bring this down. And then we'll come down to my savings. So I have Acorns, Stash, I have a Roth. I also have a 403B, right, through my job. And then I have all of my sinking funds in an American Express high yield savings account. So for Acorns right now, I just have $25 coming out for the month, or $5 a week for both of these accounts, as I kind of haven't had a chance to learn them. But once I learn them, I'll be interested in doing more. And I don't have, again, anything budgeted to go to my Roth or American Express because I just wasn't expecting to have that amount of money. And I think that that's really from picking up that EAP. So it's a little surprising, a little shocking. All right. So if I look and I say, I'm taking $50 from that amount, that means I would have left over $668, and that is kind of wild. Okay. So down here, this worksheet allows for me to take my expected income at $5,350, subtract all of these kind of projected spending or where money is going for the month to get my income, my total income. And I'm going to do projected and then come back and do my actual. So let's see if we would have $468.82, and if we subtracted what we plan to make, it equals $668, which is our leftover. Okay, so we're gonna have to see if we really have that amount left over when we finish. So the second page that I am actually using, that we'll talk briefly about, is the cash envelope breakdown. But then I like to put my money thoughts here so I can kind of keep up with them. So because I don't use cash envelopes, I'm not going to put anything there. But what I do know are things that I want to remember. So again, my Great Lakes loans are on pause until September of 2021. So that's important to remember. My priority goals are going to be to pay off my Bank of America, to fund my 2020 Roth to $3,000 because I started that when the pandemic hit last year, and then to pay extra to my Nissan. That's the only debt that I have that is carrying a balance, or rather an interest rate, and so I definitely want to pay that off. So my other thoughts are, here I note a little bit of some of the activity that might be happening on my cards. And so to Citibank, I had that 25-21 applied, but I just want to note that through Cash App, I had 30. And so when I pay that, it's going to be done. For my Discover, again, that is a card that I am using right now. Discover is allowing for you to get 5% cash back when you spend on groceries. So I put my groceries on Discover, and then Discover is where I actually had my car insurance balance. So my groceries get paid every week, but this is where I'm putting my car insurance payments. So by March, that's going to be the last payment, and that's going to be done, and then that money will start going to my sinking funds. All right, so here is where I want to think a little bit about what I want to do with that extra EAP income. I think I want to put half to my Roth and then half to debt. And I really think I'm going to have to crunch the numbers. I think I'm going to prioritize my Nissan and do extra pays on Nissan to get that down. And this, of course, is going to be after tithes. So when I think about it, I've already got one pay that came in. So I know after tithes, that is going to be $240. But then I need to think about the other 5 weeks. So I'm just going to set that up. And so we're going to see what that looks like when we come back and close out at the end of the month. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, we are going to be talking about a number of different things, including money management, as a way for us to revolutionize the way that we think about who we are and how we want to show up in the world. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.